Alrighty, this is part 2 of my top 10 stocks going into 2022. So without further ado, I showed you the first 1 through 5. And if you want to go through those real quick, without trying to reveal everything else, we have Roku, Chewy, Alibaba, Corsair Gaming, Lockheed Martin, and this leads me to the next 5 that I want to go over in this video, which is Irobot, PayPal, Visa, CleanSpark, and Rocket companies. Now, if you look at all 5 of these companies, like I mentioned in the last video, I typically look for companies that have went down in stock price, but have typically grown their profitability and revenue growth year over year over year. While these companies continue to focus and go down in share price, I think that it is a great time to add to these positions as they've gone down pretty much every single one of them in 2021. So to go ahead and go through these real quick in no particular order, not listed from best to worst, just at random, the top 10. We first have Irobot Corporation down 17.01% in the last year. We have PayPal down 18.69% in the last year. We have Visa at almost break even down 0.48%. And then we have CleanSpark down 64.29%. And then we have Rocket companies down $6 even and 30% on the dot. Now, all 5 of these are great companies, and I will be giving my quick bullish reasons and my projections going out over the next couple of years and why I think these are great companies to add on to over the next couple of months going into 2022. If you haven't got signed up already, like I mentioned in my previous video, get up to $50 for getting signed up with them on finance. All you got to do is just scroll down below, check out the description, and right here, this link right here will lead you to M1 Finance, the free platform where you can get started with investing and you can invest easily, free, without any fees whatsoever, and get $50 for getting started. So if you want to get started with investing, now's the time to do it. Or if you just want a secondary brokerage and you want to try this out, even if you don't want to use them and you just want free $50, be the 125th person I've referred so far, and you'd help support me in the channel, and I'd really appreciate it a lot, guys. But if you haven't joined me, if you haven't seen me before, my name is Jordan. I'm a millennial investor. And this is the portfolio tracking spreadsheet that I use every single day, how I plan on getting $1 million by the age of 40. It's a big, bold goal. It won't be easy to get to, but I track my goals month over month, and how I plan on getting there is all listed and disclosed in every single video. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into these top 5 stocks and talk about these, the ones that I own and don't own, in my bullish regions going into 2022 for all of them. So to start, I do own Irobot Corporation, the first one that is up here. I own 200 shares at almost exactly where the price is at right now. I just recently added to this company. I did have a big sellout in 2021. I originally added my positions at around $80 a share and ended up selling at about $95, so I had a pretty good gain there, not to mention the options theta decay that I had from selling covered calls against this position, theta gain. But looking over at Seeking Alpha here for Irobot, and we scroll the projected revenue and profitability growth for the company, the revenue for 2021 is projected to finish out at plus 10.1%. The following year in 2022, we're projected to finish out at $1.79 billion or 13.4% revenue growth. The following year, we're projected to have $2.06 billion or 15.4% revenue growth. Profitability is expected to come back in a big way, up 50% in the next year after the big downturn we had in 2021. We had a horrible year with supply chain issues, labor shortages, semiconductor shortages. Everything about this company has completely faltered in the last year in terms of its profitability, even though it still has faced some pretty decent revenue growth. Now, the profitability in 2023 is where the story really gets interesting. It comes back in a full force, plus 114.29% profitability growth. And if that's accurate, I think this company's profitability, and this more importantly, the company's share price, is going to come back in a big way. They're buying back their stock. They're buying back their own shares right now at rock bottom prices when things are really faltering. But I think this bodes well for the long term as they buy back their own shares and they've acquired another company as well. I think both the revenue and profitability will look great for Irobot, and the long-term opportunity is still there. Next up, we have PayPal. PayPal is down 18.69% on the year, currently at about $188. And once again, with all these companies, the same thing with Irobot. I said this in the last video, but typically I look for companies that have a long-term track record of success, but have some short-term pain. With Irobot, the 1-year down percentage is 17%, but the 5-year is still green. The same thing goes for PayPal. The 1 year is down 18%, but the 5-year is up 354%. So this is a company that is long-term successful, but is having short-term pains, like always with every single one of these companies. It's one that has grown very nicely, it's continued to have success, and looking at the projections moving forward, plus 18% to finish out the year in revenue, plus 18% the following next year, and then plus 20% in 2023. The profitability is just as impressive, if not more. Plus 18% this year, plus 14% next year, plus 26% the following year. This company is growing revenue and profits in a big, big way. It's one that I project will have a great 2022, and I'm really surprised they've had a horrible 2021 like they did, and a very similar holding, and one that I am extremely, extremely bullish on. I've mentioned it many times, including the last video I had just a couple days ago, how I think it's the best business model in the world. Finished almost exactly flat for the year. They have a dividend that's very small, a little under 1%. So if you invested in 2021 for Visa, you probably finished out with a very, very small gain, 0.48% down in the year of 2021, but the past 5 years, plus 163%. Very good for Visa. This is a dividend company, one of the only dividend companies we've covered in the top 10. One of only two, actually, this and Lockheed Martin. But this is a company I think is going to continue to be fantastic going forward, and especially going into 2022. Because once again, same story. If we look at revenue and profitability growth, revenue is expected to finish out at plus 17%, plus 14% next year, plus 12% the following year, and the same thing goes for profitability. Now, let me rephrase that. Not only does profitability continue to go up, but profitability continues to skyrocket because this company buys back shares at insanely high levels, and its profit margins are arguably the best in the world. Its profit margin as of its most recent reporting was 51%. So that means for every $1 of revenue they receive, 51 cents goes straight to bottom line profit. So that is absolutely fantastic. And considering that they're still growing top line, that should funnel down to the bottom line. And as they continue to buy back their own shares, that should just fuel the fire and continue to grow this even faster. So profitability 2022 for fiscal year should be plus 19%, plus another 19% the following year in 2023 fiscal year, and then fiscal year 2024 to go up 16.5%. It's one that I'm really bullish on, one that I don't see going away anytime soon. And this is just one of those that I consider to be easy money. Some of these are higher risk, and some of them have possibilities of downturning. And then when we look at all these top 10, let's actually go to the full list here real quick. When we scroll down, we look at all 10 of these that we listed in terms of the best risk-reward potential. Now, I don't think that Visa has the highest upside by any means. There are way more upside opportunities, but as far as a safe bet, one that you're almost as close as you can guaranteed be to making money, not financial advice. Do not take that as financial advice. It's just educational purposes only. But in terms of one that I think has the best chance and the highest probability of making money, of these top 10, I think Visa is by far and away the easiest pick of all these. Next up, we have the complete opposite, the biggest risk reward opportunity for 2022. This is one of those that if Bitcoin falters, it's going to be ugly. This could get to the mid to low single digits, but if it is fantastic, if Bitcoin goes on another run, this stock could easily go to 20, 25, 30, who knows, even $40 a share, which it very well did in 2021 at the beginning of the year, hitting $40+ a share. That could easily happen again. Now, this company, we could look at the projections, but honestly, for the most part, it's kind of irrelevant because it really depends on what Bitcoin price does. So rather than look at these projections, you can pause the video and look at these if you want to, but honestly, throw these numbers out the window. Nobody really knows. At the end of the day, this is kind of a leverage bet on Bitcoin, and this is my one super risky play, and this is the one company that the two companies that I own listed in this video. I own Irobot, I own Corsair Gaming that we showed in the last video, and I also own Chewy that I showed in the last video, and then lastly, I own CleanSpark. It is the smallest position that I own. I do own 1,000 shares of the company at pretty much close to these prices, but CleanSpark is one that is the big gamble, and hopefully I could sell it for a big profit going into 2022. Lastly, we have one that I was a shareholder of in 2021, sold out for a small profit. I did move the capital into other positions, but other than the big Wall Street bet spike, it's pretty much just been a big downtrend all year throughout 2021, finishing down $6 or 30% even, 30% flat. Now, this company currently trades at $14 a share, and is projected to finally kind of turn things around in a way going into 2023, but 2022 is still projected to be ugly. You can see this year in 2021, down 44% profitability growth, down 33% profitability growth in next year, and then finally expected to ramp up 5% in the next year. Down revenue growth, and then 2023 is supposed to be the big turnaround. Now, the big question here is, when do investors begin to focus on the turnaround play and the long-term story for Rocket Mortgage? They've really focused for Rocket companies on this as a big pandemic play and where they think they're going in the next year or two. But looking long term, as this company's finally cooled off from its rapid uproar in refinances and mortgages that the company did, where is it going long term? And I think it is a great business long term, but it's got some headwinds in front of it. I think the real interesting thing will be in late 2022, as their pain starts to go behind them, will investors start to focus on the future or still be looking in the rearview mirror? I think that it's a big question whether or not in 2022 or in 2023 this company's stock price will roar higher. But I think the long-term story for this company is looking great, and that leads me to my price targets of all of these. Right now, Irobot trades at a share price of $65.88. My projected share price is $90. That is my price target. Now, with all 10 of these, once again, as I mentioned in the previous video, do not take this as financial advice. This is by no means should be used as a projection for where the stock price will be. This is just a flat out guess. These could be very close. These could be far, far off, and I will show the results 1 year from today. Now, more than likely, it's very hard to guess stock prices. I presume that most of these will be very far off, and very few of them will be close whatsoever. But these are just my guesses for where I think they could be 1 year from today. Plus 36.61% or $90 a share for Irobot. This one trades at 188.58. I project that in the end of 2022, it'll probably finish out somewhere around $25 or 19% higher. Visa right now currently trades at a share price of $216.71, and I project that it'll finish out at $250 even at 15.3% stock price growth. And then the last two that we have is CleanSpark, currently at $9.52. I expect a big year as CleanSpark hopefully recovers heavily and Bitcoin does have its eventual rally. That's where I want to sell out at. And that represents a 110% stock price growth. And then lastly, we have Rocket Companies. This one currently trades at 14, and I expect it to finish at around 20 for the end of the year. I think investors will finally start to look forward towards the back half of the year. I don't expect really gains over the next month or two, but I think that long term, especially late 2022, I think this one could recover. So these are my top 10 stocks for 2022. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed this list. Let me know down in the comments if this is a great list, if you think it's a horrible list. I own Chewy, Corsair, Irobot, and CleanSpark, but all 10 of these are ones that I either own or look to own in the next year or so. But thank you guys so much for watching. Check out that link down below. Get $50 for getting signed up with them on Finance. It's a great platform. It's free to use, and you'd help support me in the channel. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.